a nice thing for Alex to say.
That's a nice compliment.
I like it. They missed the playoffs the last 4 years. Should the Raiders start another season with Derek Carr or explore other options at quarterback, Nate? I feel like we're hanging on to this one great season he had with Kelechi Osemele and that awesome offensive line, and he crushed it, and it was an MVP-level performance, and we've been waiting to see that again. I almost think that year hurt him because those are the expectations.
You're right about that, but he had a good season this past year. I mean, he had just over 4,000 yards passing. He had a 101 passer rating. He was playing well. You know, you can't put all of the blame on Derek Carr. If you can compliment him during the season, let's not forget about when he was playing good once the offseason starts. But he's making $22 million bucks. He's towards the end of his career. You might as well let him finish it out. I thought the perfect situation for Derek Carr was having a guy like Marcus Mariota behind him. And I felt like he did play well. There wasn't moments this year where you just thought, Derek Carr is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And I feel like there's this narrative that is floating around, and a lot of his brothers step up and has his back, which I appreciate because I grew up in a household with 3 brothers. They're always supposed to have your back. But I feel him, though. Like, you can't tear him down when his team isn't playing well and forget to compliment him when Derek Carr is. So stick with Derek Carr one more year, and I feel like this is the biggest prove-it year of his life. And I feel like we've been saying that over the last few years.
He's nearly 10 years in the league, Nate.
I know, but that's the way it goes when you're making this much money. One more year.
I mean, if you're Washington or the Jets, aren't you like, oh, I'd love to have Derek Carr as my quarterback?
Would the Raiders love him?
Really?
I don't know.
I don't think it's like desperation mode in
What do you think,
Las
Peter?
Vegas.
What do you think about Derek Carr?
I thought he had a good season statistically. He threw for more than 4,000 yards. He also completed 67% of his passes. And there were some big games. Like, he outplayed Mahomes in a game, and they beat the Saints in a game. The Raiders, again, missed the playoffs. They haven't been to the playoffs since John Gruden took over. You mentioned 4 years straight. He's never played in a playoff game. Remember, he got hurt against Carolina that time and missed it. And then Matt McGloin got hurt. And then it was Connor Cook starting the playoff game. But it feels like distant memory. It's black and white stuff. So if you do move on from Derek Carr, it's not specifically because of Carr's inabilities or Carr's shortcomings. It's because we just need something new. Like, we need something fresh. And it's sort of like you see people just move out to the suburbs because, well, I don't know. It's just we need something new.
Let's shake it up.
We need to shake it up a little bit.
You know what? I'm going to start a vineyard in my backyard. I got to do something.
Exactly,
I'm going to flex stamps.
And I'll tell you what, it's not on Derek Carr.
Make beer in my closet.
Yeah, in my garage.
Over pour coffee.
Yeah, he's a former colleague of ours, but Mike Mayock's drafts have not been home runs the past 2 years. And when you take a Cleveland Farrell with the 4th overall pick, who's been fine, and Devin White's the 5th overall pick, there are questions. When you take Damon Arnett last year with the 19th overall pick, and then there's a slew of players like Justin Jefferson and great other defensive backs taken after him, people start wondering. So to put it on Carr is not fair, but you're the quarterback, you wear it. I thought he had a good statistical season, but gosh, to not make the playoffs in so many years, even the Lions with Matt Stafford, after 11 years, no playoff wins, they're like, we got to shake things up.
That's how I see it exactly. It feels like just Stafford, except maybe less talented than Stafford. There's nothing wrong with Matt Stafford. The quote from Ingold, it's like, everybody loves Carr. He's a good guy. He's a good teammate. He's a good leader. He's 10-9 in prime time in his career. He's 17-24 against the rest of the AFC West. Against teams that finished with a winning record, he's 14-45. I said earlier in the show, if I were to rank all 32 teams in order of who needs to make the playoffs the most this year, I'd have the Cardinals at 2, I'd have the Las Vegas Raiders at 1. You have this $100 million head coach, this franchise quarterback. Not only have you missed it, new stadium, new town. Not only have you missed it the last couple years, like, you've blown it. You've fallen apart. And I'm trying my best to describe the Derek Carr experience because what a great guy. You root for him. It's the kind of guy you want in the NFL. The Derek Carr carousel, it feels like when you're on a Sunday on the couch and maybe you're just like a tad hungover and really lethargic, and watching Derek Carr year after year is like watching a TNT movie with commercials. Like you're watching like National Treasure. And you've seen it 100 times, but like you're on the couch and like it's entertaining you and you don't want to get up. And then eventually you're like, enough, I'm changing the channel. And you start channel surfing and you can't find anything. And then it comes back from commercial and you're like, oh, screw it, I'll stick with National Treasure. That's the off season every year for the Red. It's pretty good. I'm entertained. I'm not having my hair blown back like the guy in the Maxell capes. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. But, like, it's getting me through my Sunday. And I'll just keep riding with this because it's cool and it's nice and it says the right things. And it kind of puts us in a position to compete before eventually blowing it.
But you're channel surfing. What's the upgrade on National Treasure? Like, are you right now, unless you swing big and get Deshaun Watson, or, I mean, tell me I'm wrong, the Raiders are on Russell's list, right? That his agent put out?
On there, yeah.
Okay, so the Raiders are on there. If you can swing and get, you know, Face Off and Con Air and upgrade and watch those, then that's fine, or Air Force One. Yeah. But what is the upgrade? They're not one of these teams that are desperate for a quarterback. Is there a quarterback among those veterans, even the Cam Newtons, you guys know who I'm talking with, the Alex Smiths, that is an upgrade on Derek Carr for this team, or else you're sitting there watching National Treasure and you better be happy about it.
Did you hear the Peacock is now streaming The Slap? You can win. No, I mean, the Deshaun Watson. That's the upgrade. Russell.
The only Russell is those two. Is that
otherwise,
the only upgrade?
It seems lateral.
Triggs, you're skiing.
Because I think I'm in the same boat with the Bears. I'm in the same boat with the Washington football team. And Kay, I think that's the problem here. Everyone's got these satellite visions of Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson in a Photoshop with your uniform. But let's say they're not available. Then what? And I think Carr is a good option. It's just
he's not going to get them over the edge.
He might. No, he might. But does he excite you? Are we looking at 2021 as a Raiders fan or as a Raiders player coming into this season and being like, this year's going to be different than last? Or because Derek Carr's personality has changed quite a bit publicly over the last
sure.
years. In the first few seasons, he was very yes sir, yes, no ma'am. And last year was kind of like this, maverick a little bit.
He needed to show that
to the media.
He kind of read the clippings a little bit.
He had some bite. He would
based
answer.
on what? Like what scoreboard are you pointing at?
And I think that's what it was. It was like, okay, and then now that you were that way and you were aggressive and you were defending yourself and you came out strong and you said all these things and you still missed the playoffs. So
the Stafford comparison is perfect because there's also the Carr army. Like there's Carr apologists that say, stop talking about wins. That's a terrible stat for quarterbacks. Like that's not all. And there's a lot of elements. He needs help. He needs this. He needs this. But again, years of this. It's not just a couple of years we're giving up on it. We've put years to this. And Gruden, like, he has to wear some of this too. He hasn't done squats since
he hasn't.
And so does Mayock.
Mayock too.
Yeah, but the question is, are we going into the season with Derek Carr as the starter? And to Kay's point,
is there a realistic
what's the
upgrade?
next best option? And that's what we're looking at with a lot of these teams.
You were singing for Mariota to start the show. Is Mariota a better option than Derek Carr?
When he came in week 15 and he lit up the field, if I'm on that team and I want to shake things up, maybe I'm looking at the coaching staff saying, let's keep Mariota around, because if this thing goes south with Derek Carr, maybe he gives us some juice. It's just, you need something different. But if you don't have something different, you have to exist with what you already have. And that's Derek Carr. And for the simple fact that he threw for 4,100 yards, we can't just neglect the fact that he's a good quarterback. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL. It's
that time of the year again. We do it every year. And although there might not be a combine in Indianapolis, we're still going to give you our top 10 prospects heading into March for the NFL draft. This is before the pro days, before the teams dissect these guys and rip them all apart, and before the mock drafts really start heating up. Let's just give you an early taste of some of my top 10 prospects. We've gone through the list already, and we've done 2 players a day. Let's see the list so far if we've got it here. At number 10, I have North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance, who's only played in 16 college football games. At number 9, got wide receiver Devontae Smith out of Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner. Little slight, 175 pounds, might not be for everybody. Number 8, great tight end Kyle Pitts. I have him going in the top 10. He could go as high as the top 5 in the NFL draft. And number 7, another quarterback, Justin Fields. Compared him to Dak Prescott yesterday. Has a lot of big game experience. Let's now go on to number 6 because it's my list. And I could throw a safety in there if I want. There wasn't a single safety drafted in the first round last year. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm not doing a mock draft. I'm telling you my favorite prospects. And I watched a lot of football this season. And TCU safety Trevon Moehrig might have been my favorite defensive player. And I've got him all the way up at 6 on this draft. He plays safety, and he's not a box safety waiting to tackle you. He's not a guy who cannot move. He plays all over the field. It's like watching Tyrann Mathieu out there. The comparison that Daniel Jeremiah makes is Harrison Smith. I think that's really, really strong. But I almost feel like he can do a few things more. He intercepts passes, so he definitely does the center field stuff. He's all over the field like that. But he can line up at linebacker if you need him to. He can cover wide receivers if you need him to. He was all over the field for TCU. He's a hitter. 2-time first team all Big 12. Led all safeties in pass breakups around the country in 2019. He's been one of these consistent players. I watch the NFL every weekend. It's like, you need the number 32 on the Chiefs, Matthew. You need to have a Winfield on the Buccaneers. You need to have a Jamal Adams, someone who could fly all over the place. He probably won't go in the top 10. He might not even go in the top 20 of the draft. But on my prospect list, I know that guy's going to be a player at the next level. Trevon Moore got a TCU, number 6.
Give me some. Say it again. It's not a mock, all right?
Not a mock
People think you have him going 6th overall.
It's your faves.
My favorite.
Yes, do whatever you want.
Give me some Mo.
Which is it.
Some Mo Reed.
Number 5, I can have an Alabama wide receiver and it not be the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm going with his teammate, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle had an ankle injury this year, didn't play as much as Devontae Smith, though was never the number 1 at Alabama, and in most cases was usually the number 4 at Alabama behind Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith. But he might be my favorite wide receiver in this entire draft. An absolute burner. Wears number 17. And if you watched his punt return against LSU 2 years ago, or in the Iron Bowl against Auburn where he took a slant and went about 60 yards, he is the most electric wide receiver in this draft. I know there's no combine. It pains me there's no combine because last year, Henry Ruggs ran a 4.2 40. We all did flips. I think he's faster than Henry Ruggs. Oof. I think he is faster than Henry Ruggs. He's bigger than Henry Ruggs. I think this is Tyreek Hill. I honestly do. I think Jalen Waddle could be Tyreek Hill. I think he is as fast as
high praise, bro.
Any player in this entire NFL. That's how fast I think this guy could be. He could be the fastest player in the league, and he does it in special teams as well. Returns punts, returns kicks. They throw slant passes to him, and it was usually Tua from 2 years ago. And Waddle would take it at the 40, shimmy, and then break 3 guys, defensive backs who are all in the NFL from other schools in the SEC, and go for touchdowns. The problem? Ankle injury. Missed a lot of time.